come up to this. To my left here, we have 2 sign language interpreters ready to service you tonight for those who may need hearing assistance. I'd like to introduce myself. I think I am no stranger to these meetings. I am Chip Johnson, the Chief Officer for Family and Community Engagement in Education. And this meeting is part of the proposed reassignment boundary change of National Teachers Academy, which was formally introduced on December 1st. I would say formally proposed to the board on December 1st, following months of community engagement leading up to the announcement. We are here today on behalf of the CEO, Dr. Janice Jackson, to share some basic information and to hear from you about this specific proposal. As I mentioned a moment ago, the purpose of this meeting is to allow CEO Jackson and the board office to hear feedback from you about this specific proposal under discussion. I will start by running through a brief introduction and logistics, and then I will run through the presentation that you all might have seen last week if you were here. After this, we will allow the remaining time for you and the public comment. The meeting will end approximately 8 o'clock. Promptly, I'm hoping that it will be 8 o'clock. And then I would also like to encourage you, Reverend Kerr could not be here. He was going to be here to introduce himself to you and to welcome you into his church. But he did want to express that he wanted to maintain the fidelity of this being a worship service. So if we can agree to disagree and just keep our language very respectful during our public comment, that would be very much appreciated. In addition, today we have representatives here from the Office of Diverse Learners, Supports and Services, Shani Boone and Luis Rodriguez, students living in temporary situations, our homeless department at STLS, Anshel Blackman, and the talent office has Tiffany Taylor being represented here. They will be available for 30 minutes after this meeting to answer any questions that you may have specific to this proposal. And please note that the conversations at those tables will not be recorded. We do have a stenographer here that is taking notes to present a public record for all of the comments made in tonight's meeting. The community meeting will take place over a course of 2 hours. And the goal is to just provide a brief presentation on the proposed action, followed by the public comment. And if you did not have a chance to comment, you may fill out a card in the back and email your comments to transitions@cps.edu. You can also submit your written comments at the registration desk, where a staff member has note cards that they will provide for you. Please reference the transition plan regarding this school action at the website at cps.edu/transitions. In addition, meeting summaries for each community meeting will be made available online at cps.edu/transitions within 5 days of the meeting. This meeting is part of a broader timeline regarding the proposed action. As part of this process, CPS began publishing draft guidelines for school actions on October 1st and then announcing proposed school actions on December 1st. This followed months of community engagement and input. Following this announcement, CPS hosted 2 community meetings, this is the second one, and then 1 public hearing that will be held at the end of this month to gather additional public feedback. After the meetings and the hearings, we will review all input, and after this, CEO Dr. Jackson will make a recommendation to the board to vote on the proposed action. Following the potential recommendation, the board will vote on whether or not to approve the proposed action at the February board meeting. Over the past year, we have engaged various communities on this proposal and gotten critical feedback that informed adjustments to the proposal. We heard from various communities, including parents and community members at Drake, Ames Elementary, Healy Elementary, NTA, South Loop, and Ward. We heard from community members from Armour Square, Bronzeville, Bridgeport, Chinatown, and South Loop. And we also heard from our aldermen and our state representatives. We have conducted 3 large community meetings between May and June of 2017. Nearly 5 meetings with the steering committee comprised of community leaders across these groups. Over 30 small group meetings with various stakeholders, and received over 900 emails at transitions@cps.edu. From this engagement, we heard a lot of feedback from various perspectives, including those interested in high school and potential boundaries, as well as others who want to maintain NTA as an elementary school, including its strong culture and staff. We have worked to adjust our proposal in response to various points of feedback, including expanding the South Loop boundaries to incorporate all of NTA's current boundary and releasing an initial draft boundary for community feedback. We want to take time to explain the proposal today and where it stands, and continue to gather feedback through these community meetings. In terms of the proposal itself, all proposed changes are proposed to begin school year 2019-20. There are 2 key components here. On the elementary school side, this proposal involves the new state-of-the-art South Loop facility, 3-campus model at South Loop, and expanding the boundaries at South Loop to incorporate all of NTA's current boundary over time. On the potential high school conversion, this proposal involves NTA gradually converting to a high school over time, transitioning grades pre-K through 3 to South Loop, while allowing students in grades 4th through 8th grade to remain at NTA or transfer to South Loop, and providing a guaranteed seat for all NTA students to attend the high school, regardless of where they live. In the following slides, we will go through a few key details of this proposal. In terms of the high school conversion timeline, this proposal involves the following changes in 2019-20. Transitioning the pre-K program at NTA to South Loop. Enrolling incoming kindergarten students at South Loop. Rising students in grade 1st through 3rd grades will be reassigned to South Loop or have the option to transfer to another school. NTA students in grade 4th through 8th grades to either stay at NTA or to transition to South Loop. All NTA students will have a guaranteed seat at the high school, regardless of where they live. Starting in school year 2019-20, NTA would begin a gradual conversion to a high school over time. As you can see below, NTA would contain students 4th through 9th in 2019-20, and then in the subsequent years, NTA would gradually phase in high school grades while phasing out the elementary school grades. So by 2022-23 school year, NTA would contain students in grades 7th through 12th, and in school year 2024 through 25 and beyond, NTA would only contain the high school grades 9 through 12. We will ensure that the high school and elementary school grade transitions will be managed and with the appropriate safety and security considerations. In terms of the transition for specific NTA students starting in 2019-20, the pre-K program at NTA will be located at South Loop. For students in the neighborhood program, rising kindergarten students living in the current boundaries of NTA will not offer a in the current boundaries of NTA will be zoned to South Loop. NTA will not offer a kindergarten option. Rising 1st through 3rd grade students at NTA will be reassigned to South Loop, regardless of where they live. They will also have the option to transfer to other elementary schools. Staff from the Office of Access and Enrollment will help students and families if they wish to explore other options. Rising 4th through 8th grade students can stay at NTA through graduation or transfer to South Loop neighborhood track. They can also decide to transfer to South Loop in subsequent school years. For students in the Regional Gifted Center program, which we affectionately refer to as RGC, for kindergarten to 3rd grade will be located at South Loop. In subsequent years, the RGC program will phase in grades at South Loop. Rising NTA RGC students will be reassigned to the RGC program at South Loop. They will also have the option to transfer to other elementary schools. Staff from the Office of Access and Enrollment will help students and families, again, if they wish to explore other options. The RGC program for grades 4th through 8th will remain at NTA and phase out over time. They would also have the option to transfer into South Loop neighborhood track in school year 2019-20 and in future years. In terms of how the elementary school boundary will change, South Loop's boundary would expand to include all of NTA's current boundary over time. This boundary change over time is in sequence with the transition of elementary school students and the phase out of elementary school grades at NTA. So for example, in school year 2019-20, kindergarten to third grade at NTA transitions to South Loop. And likewise, the boundary for K-3 students at NTA will be South Loop.
No justice! No peace!
Raise up, let's go! NTA, stand up, let's go!
You take advantage of your power.
And we are here to take it back.
Whose school?
Our schools.
Your rules say, take your turn. Your rules say,
Don't challenge.
Your rules say,
Children should be free and unheard.
our community believes.
We must speak the truth out.
Our community believes.
We must challenge injustice.
Our community believes.
The voice of our youth inspire our city, our nation, and our world.
Black students matter.
Black lives matter.
And since Black Lives Matter,
NTA matters.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
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 Thank you very much. Kindergarten through third grade at NTA transitions to South Loop, and likewise the boundary for K-3 students at NTA's current boundary will be South Loop. NTA will offer grades 4 through 8, so the boundary for students in grades 4 through 8. Excuse me. I understand your passion and I understand your need, but there are other people that want to listen to the proposal. There are other people that have the same passion as you do and have some choices they need to make. I just ask that you respect the equity of the presentation. Thank you. NTA will offer grades 4 through 8, so the boundary for students in grade 4 through 8, NTA's current boundary will still be NTA. All students residing in this boundary in grades 4 through 8 will also have the option to attend South Loop. We recognize that this change will be difficult for some families and students. We engage NTA and South Loop.
Shut it down.
shut it down.
We engage both NTA and South Loop parents in developing this transition plan, including multiple steering committees. Ultimately, we developed a draft plan that budgets $3.5 million to support that transition of NTA students to South Loop and the coming together of these two school communities. Some of the key transition supports include budget for a variety of events and activities designed to support community building and culture integration, starting the year prior to any proposed action. Creation of a joint culture and climate team comprised of staff, parents, and students, representatives from NTA and South Loop. principal and school-based transition coordinators to assist with implementation of new programs and practices at each school, logistical support, and other supports identified by both schools' leadership, implementation of restorative practices, professional development, and training opportunities for school staff, transportation for transitioning NTA students to commute to South Loop Elementary School. In addition, as part of this proposal, all NTA students as of school year 2018-19, regardless of where they live, will have a guaranteed seat at the high school as they matriculate from elementary school to high school.
You might be loud, but you're not making any sense.
That's your opinion. I would like to emphasize the data on slide 12 that you see here, given the feedback from the last meeting regarding capacity and enrollment in the high school. The data shows that under a reasonable set of assumptions based on current data, all students from the enrollment boundary, including both neighborhood and preference boundary, will be able to attend. Now, before we get started, each participant will have 2 minutes to speak. You will receive notice when there are 30 seconds left at the 2-minute mark. Can I see where the timekeepers are? Timekeepers, raise your hand, please. A stenographer and a note taker are present to record comments made at this meeting and ensure CPS fully captures community feedback. We would like to begin our public comment section. And once again, I'm going to say for the sake of what we're doing in Chicago public schools, that you try to maintain your respect. Will speakers 1 through 5 please line up at the microphone? Speakers 1 through 5. I would hope that you will continue your remarks over the disrespect. Speakers 1 through 5, please. Speakers 1 through 5, do we have 1 through 5? We don't have 1 through 5, I'll take 6 through 10. 1 through 10. 1 through 10, please. You will be able to speak from the microphone here on this side, and then you'll be able, we're going to use one mic, Mr. Pittman? One mic. Yeah, okay. You'll be able to speak from this mic here. All of our speakers. We will have, thank you very much, I appreciate that. I'm going to still be respectful, still. We're going to have speakers 1 through 10 at the mic, our first speaker.
This will give families quality education, selection for their children in their own community. Thank you.
I am the proud parent of 2 NTA scholars. My son is in 3rd grade, my daughter in kindergarten. While I have attended all the town hall community meetings, this is the first time I have come to speak, and my purpose for doing so is to address some of the comments that have been made from outside communities. My children have ridden 2 trains with their father every single day since they were in kindergarten. At the last meeting, someone asked us if we had ever been south of 37th Street. We live in the hundreds. The red line stops directly in front of NTA, and amazingly, they've not had a single tardy using public transportation. I would also like to add that they're traveling 13 miles to school That's 13. And I know that math is hard for some of you, so that's 26 miles round trip. I drive from Ryan in rush hour every day. So when I hear stories about how hard it is for someone's high schooler to travel 4, 6, or 8 miles, I'm not buying that as a reason to destroy 750 people's children for a high-quality education. Under the new plan, my son, I guess, would stay at NTA in a construction zone. My daughter gets booted to South Loop, and my 2-year-old wouldn't have a seat at either one. We will become one of those families that are all too common, that have become fed up with CPS. Splitting children across 3 different buildings is not good for any child. It is not best practices. The next issue that I would like to address is when I hear people say, I don't have a high school. Everyone has a high school. The high school in my neighborhood is a level 2, but I would never say I do not have a high school. Okay? If you are insinuating that their school does not exist, yeah, I hear you. If you do not like the neighborhood high school, that's fine, but talk about respect, Chip. Everyone has a high school. You are insinuating to the people that are there, that is not a good enough school for you. That is not, fine, say that. But don't say I do not have a high school. It would be, when I was explaining this to my son, it would be as if he asked me for a bike, and he wanted a new bike, but he said I didn't have one. Okay? He has a bike. It would be as if he asked me to go steal his friends and replace it with his. Okay? Thank you.
My name is Miles Sanders and I'm a 3rd grade student at NTA. I have been there since I was in kindergarten. I have so many friends I can't even keep count of them. Many of them are not even in my grade. It's like a second family to me. NTA has the most amazing teachers. They make learning super exciting and fun. For example, we just had a Colonial Day after our unit on colonial times. It was so much fun and lots of parents came to participate. All of our teachers explain things when someone doesn't understand. They were there to help. We also have a program called Second Step. We get to learn with other kids in other classes and get to know them. This has helped me make new friends outside of my regular homework. We can compare things how I like one thing and they might like another. They encourage you to be partners with other classes. I've also gotten to know lots of other teachers and they're really, really nice. Lastly, I think the plan to convert NTA to a high school is just wrong. It will hurt many families, including mine. I have 2 younger siblings and my sister is here at NTA in kindergarten. My brother is 2 years old. Like many families, we would be split apart. I would stay at NTA, my sister has to go to South Loop, and my brother can't go to either one. We would have to go to 3 different buildings. I would have to make all new friends at a new school. You'd be tearing apart the NTA community that I love. This plan will hurt many families, destroying a great community. Thank you.
That's just speaking from NTA. That's reason enough to stop Scholar from NTA.
Hi, my name is Nadia, and I'm an NTA parent as well with 2 children, one in 4th grade and one in kindergarten. And I wanted to put on the record a few emails that we've become aware of since this whole situation has, since we've been made aware of this situation. So this is an email from Alderman Pat Dowd to Barbara Britt Bennett, the previous CEO of Chicago Public Schools. Barbara and Mike, I have spoken to the mayor a few times about the need to address low fee overcrowding at Southwood Elementary and the need for a neighborhood high school in the area. David Vitale has also attended a meeting of over 300 Southwood residents where these issues were also raised. Recently, the mayor attended an Easter egg hunt in the Southwood where the mayor said to the president of the Prairie District Neighborhood Association that he would work with me to bring a neighborhood high school to NTA. I wanted to get started on this while the CHA is moving on plans for the redevelopment of Iggy's. CHA board selection of the developer anticipated to occur in June, which will bring between 670 to 1,100 new units of housing to the South Loop. This does not include all of the housing that is already under construction or the housing that is anticipated to be developed because of the investment made by MPEA in this area. This is a matter of urgent concern for me and my constituents, plead divide. And this email was dated April 14th, 2015. This is evidence that this plan is stemming from a political exchange between the mayor and the Prairie District Neighborhood Alliance, a very wealthy group. It also points to the desire to remove these children from the area, and that will be achieved by removing NTA as an elementary school option. It is purposely segregating black and brown kids out of the area before they return. Thank you.
My name is Robert Schmidt. I'm an NTA parent of second grade. Clear evidence has been stated that the school action of converting NTA into a high school is a directive from the mayor's office. CPS is merely a puppet in this proposal. Why isn't CPS doing the inequity analysis? Why is CPS ignoring all other alternatives and opting to choose the most harmful and drastic alternative that will further harm families who were pushed out of Southwood Elementary in 2005, had their previous schools closed in 2013, and now have found a home and success at NTA. This school is 75% African American and low income. A beautiful population of black families that has continually experienced educational oppression and divestment at the hands of the mayor and CPS. Why did Janice Jackson purposely mislead the board by falsely indicating that the level 1 status was achieved by students in the gifted program when CPS's own information states otherwise? Let's think about that. Janice Jackson and the disgraced Claypool were so desperate to satisfy this mayoral directive that they were and are willing to make false statements in their roles as leaders of CPS. In Janice Jackson's new role as interim CEO, she has continued to perpetuate lies about NTA to further the mayor's directive. When does this stop? When has CPS ever made a decision to close a successful elementary school that is level 1 or level 1 plus? Only when it is a majority black and when they believe the families will not fight back. And when do they choose to violate their own rules and compromise every ethical standard when dealing with these NTA families and students? They do it when the mayor directs them to.
Hi, my name is Kenny Cooper. I'm a first grader at NTA. I'm thankful for my teachers, my classmates. Thank you, Mr. C, our principal. You guys are great. And your staff don't close NTA.
To close a building that is less fortunate families and is not right. To take advantage of the people that don't have, and then take what else will they have? They're taking their school, and some of these people have nowhere else to go. I just heard someone say they travel 26 miles round trip, and a high schooler can't go 8 miles to school. That's insane to me. I live on the west side of Chicago by Garfield Park Conservatory and went all the way to Chicago Military Academy. So if I can make that travel, anyone else can make that travel. To take away from our youth is not right. The youth is who is going to be protecting us in the future. So we want to continue to make sure that they're fed. High school, by the time you're in high school, you're already molded. That's not taking away from the molding of these young children.
Continues to purposely mislead members of the board and community. This is very troubling. The community, parents, teachers, and students rely on CPS for equality. When we have a CPO who is willing to misrepresent the truth about the data of the school in order to comply with the mayor's directive, we have no representation. For the record, CEO Janice Jackson lied about NTA's data on 2 occasions we know of. First, at the July School Board of Ed meeting, Dr. Janice Jackson responded to a student speaker in reference to the level 1 status. She stated, "You talk about the data in the school, and the students in the neighborhood school are not seeing the same level of performance that the students in the gifted program are seeing. That is not true. NTA's SQRP Report from 2015 shows that Janice Jackson fabricated a version of the data. NTA reached level 1 that year solely due to the neighborhood kids. Driving quickly and coming to the door. It's disheartening to our kids. Basically, it was an attempt to sway their future vote. Sadly, Dr. Jackson is willing to lie to students about their achievement to follow the mayor's orders. Second, recently on WBON, Janice Jackson, after she was named CEO, stated on the air for public, the kids from Long Grove and Miller Homes are not going to selective enrollment schools that the gifted kids are attending. No one has graduated from the gifted programs yet from NTA. The oldest participants in the gifted program are in 5th grade. Her statements have no basis. This is the CEO of the public schools. For the record, due to deliberate attempts Dr. Jackson to mislead the board and community, any and all information that is forwarded to the hearing officer from CPS must be deemed not trustworthy and tainted with corruption.
This shuffling kids is a Band-Aid. I believe it's also definitely will create racial tensions in the city. It's not helping anything. It's just pushing things to the side. We need to build and strive to build a new high school, maybe 2 new high schools, in place of shuttling these kids out of NT, which is so wrong. It's level 1 plus school. I can only speak for my heart.
Speakers 11 through 15, please line up. Speakers 11 through 15.
Hi, I'm Aaron Sanders. I'm a proud parent of 2 NTA scholars, including the little guy that gave that great speech. I'm here to talk about the discussion of turning NTA into a high school, and where we talked about the need to obtain feedback from the community. That's what CPS was, said that they were doing. But the reality was that the mayor's office was directing CPS to convert NTA into a high school as far back as 2015. His order being the mayor followed a visit that he made to an Easter egg hunt sponsored by PBNA President Tina Feldstein, pictured right here with Pat Battle, and the mayor and the Easter Bunny, poor guy. After receiving a follow-up email from Alpha Mandala, the mayor's office went to work on NTA. Specifically in 2016, Mike Lebron, the mayor's chief of policy, began leading this discussion to close NTA. We've got proof going as far back as 2016 that Claypool and Jackson, Dr. Jackson, CEO Jackson, were in discussion with the mayor's office of turning NTA into a high school. That for the mayor's office turning NTA into a high school is time sensitive. The mayor's chief of policy in an email to Janice Jackson discussed the goal of starting the enrollment process for NTA's first high school class in 2018. So the whole idea that this process was all developed with community involvement is a complete joke, a bunch of bunk. This was obviously before any notification of scheduled community meetings on the issue. In essence, CPS never looked at any other viable option on the high school. Dr. Jackson has confirmed in at least 2 meetings on the record that she never looked at any other option for a high school in the South other than NTA. This changing NTA to a high school is a school action. That must meet specific criteria to true equitable analysis, which CPS has avoided at all costs. The mayor is not CPS. The mayor is attempting to turn NTA to a high school for political gain. I will tell you one thing. In addition to this just terrible story here, there are alternatives. Q, Chicago's United for Equity, did a racial equity analysis. I understand. Just let me finish on this. Let me finish on this one point. I understand, but the last thing that I want to mention to you is in that racial equity analysis, we had plenty of options. One of those options was, let's sell Old South Blue. Let's sell the annex. I am math. I'm no expert on this, and I know math is hard, but the truth of the matter is we would be able to pull together at least $30 to $50 million to be able to build that new high school. Let's do that.
Wouldn't the Chicago public schools all be in a different position if we had more parents who cared and more teachers who were there for more than a paycheck? I went to Chicago Teachers College. I passed the National Teachers Association test. I was certified by the Chicago Board, interviewed by them. I taught in a number of Chicago public schools. At the beginning, as a substitute teacher who went around to different schools. So I'm glad you guys, I got out of teaching because I realized that wasn't my calling. The only one who should be there in a classroom is someone who feels it's their calling. However, we know that some people are turning this into something it is not. I have been called a racist. I wouldn't live at 29th in Michigan if I were. I think we gotta tone it down, listen to each other, respect each other, don't threaten people with photographs on a placard saying it's the Hunger Games. I had someone who had to tell me what the Hunger Games were. Most of the good parents in this room are not promoting violence, and that's what that means.
Good evening. My name is Patricia. Thank you. I'm a parent of 6 NTA students, 4 already graduated. We have 2 left. But I wanted to just mention, I'm part of, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but I'm part of one of the Iggy, I used to live in Iggy, where NTA is where I used to live at. And I remember CPS telling us that the same thing that Chip said earlier is that the Iggy kids will be able to go to NTA, enroll into NTA no matter where you live, which unfortunately they reneged on, because I know that when I was able to get Section 8 and I moved out of the area, it was really hard for me to get my now 21-year-old into NTA. So I mother's address who lives in the Hilliards in order for him to go to the school. Now, it started being a little lax down the road, like some years down the road, where I was able to put my other children into the school because I'm a foster parent. But I just don't believe CPS when they say that the NTA students, no matter where you live at, will be able to go to that NTA high school. I don't believe it because they already lied before.
We'll have speakers 16 through 20. Please line up. Speakers 16 through 20.
My name is David Woon. I'm the father of 3 children that have graduated or attended CPS schools, and a longtime Chinatown resident. I've had the chance to talk publicly about the lack of a nearby neighborhood high school for Chinatown students, not only currently, but for the past 50 years. As a result, our students are dispersed into nearly 50 schools, and these schools are not able to address the needs of our LEP immigrant students. But this high school is not just for Chinatown. I've said that CPS's plan creates one of the most diverse neighborhood high schools in Chicago. While we won't know the exact demographics until students enroll, CPS has provided information that the current CPS high school students within the attendance and preference boundaries are 41% Asian, 27% African American, 19% Hispanic, 10% white, and 3% others. As I wanted to fact check my statement, I looked at the demographics of every CPS neighborhood high school to see how many other schools had at least 10% of their students from 4 of these racial ethnic groups. Out of 46 neighborhood high schools, only 4, Amundsen, Lincoln Park, Mather, and Sen, all on the north side, had at least 10% of their student body who were Asian, 10% African American, 10% Hispanic, and 10% white. Only one school, Schurz, also on the north side, had at least 3 racial ethnic groups with at least 10%. 48% of the neighborhood high schools have only one racial ethnic group with at least 10%. And 41% of the high schools have 2 racial or ethnic groups with at least 10%. Over a year ago, Chinatown pushed for CPS's capital funds to be used for a new high school for Armour Square and Bridgeport. Unfortunately, those funds, which come around once every other decade or so, were allocated to Inglewood, but the need for a high school still exists. I support CPS's plan to create a uniquely diverse high school for the Armour Square, Bridgeport, North Brownsville, and South Loop communities.
Thanks, JP. My name is Elizabeth Riera. I am the chair of the local school council at MTA. This question has been asked before, but for the record, I really do demand an answer. What is the request for this proposal for this school action? CPS needs to let the community know who submitted this proposal and when did they submit it. This is in the guideline for school actions, and we demand an answer. You have my email, Chip. I will be looking for that answer because I want to know if possibly the request for this proposal for the school action came from this letter that Pat Dow wrote in April of 2015. It's a letter to Mayor Rahm Emanuel on her official letterhead. At the end of the letter, she writes, I ask you to join me in supporting this effort to resolve the school overcrowding issue in the South Loop by merging South Loop Elementary School with National Teachers Academy and investing in NTA to become a neighborhood high school. That sounds very familiar, doesn't it? It was CC'd was Dr. Barbara Bird Bennett, the CEO of Chicago Public Schools at that time. 9 months later, our principal, Isaac Castellaz, sent an email to Alderman Dow wondering about this rumor that NTA is being turned into a high school, and she said, I'm having conversations with CPS, the mayor's office, and Ms. Shelton, the principal of Southwood Elementary, about a possible expansion option that does not involve NTA facility. And he says, thanks, Pat, that's good to know, because I've heard this plan to turn NTA into a high school. To my knowledge, no such plan is in the works within CPS, but I'm not sure if organizations or constituents within the ward may be pushing for this. And Pat Dow said 5 minutes later, I've heard of this. It's not a real plan at this time. This is irrefutable factual evidence that our principal has been lied to by an elected official, Pat Dow, and that NTA has been left out of the conversation about our school for years. Thank you.
White Americans of goodwill have never connected bigotry and economic exploitation. They have deplored prejudice but tolerated ignored economic injustice. So I want to speak about Phillips High School. I recently joined the LSC there as a volunteer, basically, because the parents there don't have the capacity to come and attend these meetings. The only meeting I was able to attend that we've had so far was just me, another community member, the principal, and one of the guidance counselors. Phillips Academy has about half of its seats open. I decided that as a parent in South Loop, I would like to invest in a high school to give my son a viable option for high school in case, or on the eventuality that he does not place into one of these selective enrollment schools, or a selective enrollment school is not suited for his learning style, whatever. So I started going and volunteering at the academic cafes there. The students there are all super wonderful. There are some challenges. I think there's some inappropriate uses of technology there that I was a little concerned about. It's about like teaching math on the computer for students that don't have access to a computer or an internet at home. I don't know if that's a great choice, but I would like to get more involved and find out the reasoning. They don't have a librarian there, which I think is really sad. So if CPS wants to talk about all the investing they've done in Phillips High School, why don't we have a librarian?
My name is Jordan Crown. I'm a 7th grade student at NTA, and like all I want to say is like y'all trying to take away something from kids who really do need this education. Y'all messing up the futures of kids who gonna have great futures, who are intelligent people, who will do intelligent things. And like what NTA is, like they just not y'all teachers, they like y'all family, like they are second moms, they are second daddies, they are aunties, they whatever y'all want them to be. They teach you in a way that's they're gonna teach you in a way that's gonna help you learn, but also gonna help you love them and help you love yourself, love your education, love everything you do. All I'm trying to say is like y'all trying to take away and give, but all y'all really doing is taking away. And y'all think that like it's gonna have some value to what y'all doing, but it really don't. Because they say it's more than just one thing, it's everything. That's all I have to say.
Providing an improved educational outcome at the high school level at a location that is close by. Unless another viable option is on the table, this proposal could serve the greater Chinatown area more than it ever has. Although I do not have children of my own, I hope that they will be able to be exposed to different types of people at an early age and have a continued experience into their adulthood. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is David Moskowitz. I'm here as a proud parent of a first grader at NTA. I'm also a CPS employee, but I'm here to speak as a parent. But I want to share my particular perspective, which is that in my view, the status of NTA as a 1+ school, or the debate about whether the gifted, the RGC scores are what contributes to to its rating, miss the point. And therefore, I would not like to make the argument that NTA should not be closed because it's a 1+ school. I would like to make the argument that it should not be closed because of what it represents to the students and to the parents, what it means as a community that previous students have said about what it is to them, and that a school, its greatness, what it can do for students is determined by the relationships that are established between the different members of the community, between the staff members, between the administration, between the teachers, between JP, who of anybody and across the entire city of Chicago is the only one who knows how to pronounce my daughter's nickname right, even people in my own family. And I have to explain to my daughter when she asks me, I don't understand, it's not fair, why do I have to give up my school? And I don't have a good answer for her. The one answer that I would like to give her, that I think about giving her, is that the truth is, if she were going to a school which was not predominantly African American, which was not predominantly low income, she would not have to, because there would have the political will and the clout to be able to stand up to it. And it pains me to say that. And so now I don't have a good answer to give her as a CPS employee or as a parent to tell her why it is that she has to give up her school and why it should be fair that she should have to give up her school so that other people would have it. So I want to leave my testimony on the record of what it means to me as a parent and to her as a student, as a child of the community that's been created for her. So thank you to you all.
Speakers 21 through 25, please line up. 21 through 25.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eve Ewing. I am not in any way affiliated with NTA. I'm here because I'm a community member and to provide my professional opinion. So when I say my professional opinion, I mean my opinion as someone who attended CPS my entire life, who became a CPS teacher, who got an undergraduate degree at the University of Chicago. I have 2 master's degrees, one in teaching and one in education policy and management, and I have a doctorate from Harvard University. So I know a thing or two. The people in this room, I'd like to address the people in this room who are not affiliated with NTA and who look on people being disruptive and rowdy. And I heard Mr. Johnson's admonition to be respectful. Yesterday was MLK Day, and we do not celebrate Dr. King being respectful. We do not celebrate Dr. King listening quietly and being subservient, but we're asking that of our children. NTA parents have been respectful. They have respectfully engaged with the aldermen. They have respectfully engaged with city council members. They have respectfully engaged with members of the school board, and it didn't work. So they're not being respectful anymore. And so when you see them in here being loud and you shake your heads, keep in mind that there's a reason for that. They tried to follow the rules. And you know who else followed the rules? The 12,000 children who were displaced in the last school closures. They followed the rules. And 88% of those children were black. So if you want to talk about what racism is and isn't, I refer the previous people to Google because there's a sick misunderstanding of what racism is there. If you think living in a black neighborhood means you can't be racist, we'll get back to that another time. This is the same song, different day. And Mr. Johnson, I hear you in saying we need to be respectful because people have decisions they need to make. None of the people who make the decisions are in this room. None of them are here. We have no accountability. We have no elected officials who speak for us. And what we see is CPS employees trying to do the right thing who are out here facing angry community members. This is one of the most diverse rooms
I think that I agree with all my brother, all my friends, and everybody who spoke before me, because when you take away like school, and you take away places, you're not just taking away like the education, you're taking away a second family, you're taking away like a chunk of everybody's life, where they grew up at, what they doing, and everybody love each other and support each other, and they love everything everybody do, no matter like your religion, your skin color, what you believe in, what you like, what you do. And everybody, like the staff, Miss Audrey, Mr. JP, everybody, the principal, assistant principal, everybody who showed up today, they here to stop what you're doing, because when you take away our school, you're not only taking away what people think, you're taking away how like they live and how they think about other people. And like the lady before me said that nobody had to speak for us, but to be honest, y'all trying. All I want to say is that when all of us, like, we all been respectful, we all been waiting, like everybody else been talking, when y'all been telling us, like, be quiet, be respectful. But when we being respectful, our voice, like when we being quiet, how we supposed to explain how we feel, how we think, we feel about this, and when we all I want to say is that you're not only taking away education, you're taking away people's lives, people's family, and how people think. And then little kids that just got started school, they won't have a chance to like see how other people feel. They don't get a chance to see about different like religions, different like diverse people.
Until recently to this CPS closure, I have realized what racism is. And just in my view, I feel like racism is prejudice alongside power. And with the CPS, with this power and this prejudice, has taken this school, this school has become a pillar of our community, where kids can look forward to going to school. They look forward to having a better education. And we have other kids, like the kids from Chinatown, seem like they're going through the same thing that we're going through. But instead of allowing us to go to school together, in which we have other parents other Caucasian families that took a chance and enrolled their kids into a predominantly black school, and felt, realized that it was prosperous for them and their kids. And they got a chance to see that we can coincide together. Taking our schools from us is, you have like other kids from England, their schools closed, and they're able to go to Phillips. If we give the kids from Chinatown a chance to go to Phillips, maybe they can enhance what we already have at Phillips, to better off our schools. We have a lot of parents that wasn't able to get good educations, so they have to work 2 jobs. That's why we don't have a lot of parents here now, because we have such poor schools in our community that they have to take on 2 jobs just to make ends meet. And if we have schools like NTA that allow us to get good educations, we can bring some back to our community besides the bad influences that you see on TV.
Speakers 27 through 32. Speakers 27 through 32.
Hello, my name is Maxwell Marty. I have a job at South Loop as well as CPS pledges their commitment to providing every child from every community with a high-quality education. So who's being served by this decision? The New York Times published that CPS students appear to be learning faster than students across the country, according to a Stanford University study. However, the article goes on to say, while growth is broadly distributed, the pattern in Chicago shows that black-white achievement gaps are not narrowing. In fact, another New York Times article based on research by the same Stanford University team highlighted a 3-year academic achievement gap between white and black students in CPS. The racial achievement gap is pervasive. The CPS Steering Committee shared academic data disaggregated by school program. This level of data is typically not made public. When you examine a neighborhood program, there is a significant racial achievement gap at South Loop Elementary. 8 out of 10 students that do not meet grade level proficiency are black, 8 out of 10. Of the 240 neighborhood students that are black, 60 are not meeting grade level proficiency. 60. And while there are 60 black students not meeting grade level proficiency, there are only 6 white students not meeting grade level proficiency. This is unacceptable. The steering committee data also shows that the achievement gap increases as students progress at South Loop. 7 out of 10 students that do not meet their expected annual growth are black. 7 out of 10. Why is that? Why are disproportionate number of black students not achieving at grade level and, more importantly, not adequately growing? So who is being served by this decision? Eliminating NTA, a school where black students are growing greater than 75% of students across the country, does not serve black students. Transitioning black NTA students to South Loop Elementary, a school where a disproportionate number of black students are not meeting their expected growth, does not serve black students. I find it fitting to end on a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. Capitalism does not permit an even flow of economic resources. With this system, the small privileged few are rich beyond conscience, and almost all others are deemed to be poor at some level. That's the way the system works. And since we know that the system will not change the rules, we're going to have to change the system. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff. Before I speak, I just want to recognize Pastor David, who helped organize this tonight. He also runs a tutoring program that impacts a lot of the kids here, so if you really want to get involved, please see Pastor David about the tutoring program that he has every week. I've been a South Loop resident for 23 years. I've watched the neighborhood growth unfold from the beginning, but never thought it would take this long to address a lot of the CPS overcrowding, school overcrowding, infrastructure needs, which was really foreshadowed for years. I am in favor of trying to combine the student populations and find a solution for both the overcrowding, combining and improving the education experience for all, and as well as looking at the high school option. My family's been personally impacted by this because after having kids, the CPS had changed the neighborhood boundary, and not having a pre-K program at NTA at that time, I had to search for alternative solutions for my family, and I understand where that comes in. But we're losing too many diverse families when it comes time to select a neighborhood public school, or kids ending up taking CPS slots over into West Loop or other points, and that's not fair as well. But at the end of the day, the numbers are such that the South Loop has grown and doubled in population from 2000 to 2010. And then from 2010 to 2012, it went up another 10%. Now you've got 10,000 developments already underway. That doesn't include the Keys plan for transformation. It doesn't include Michael Reese. It's happening. And we're going to be right back here in a couple of years, regardless of what side you're on. This is going to have to be addressed, and there's going to have to be some hard decisions made. And at this time, CPS estimates that there's 4,400 kids of school age just between Printers Row and I-55. So at some point, we have to consider the numbers and make this happen. And at the end of the day, the infrastructure needs to be addressed for everyone. Thank you.
It's
not very comfortable being called a racist.
Don't be one then.
Yeah. And having my daughter of Chinese birth, to see that her father doesn't like brown people, or trying to explain to my college-age daughter who was sent to South Loop when it was 98% black, her father doesn't want her going to school with black people. I think you need to tone down the racism.
Oh, please preach to us some more. PD&A in this area, we've had community meetings in this church about the need for a high school starting in 2011. So there were a lot of efforts.
Call your boyfriend the mayor.
Excuse me. I mean, it's great decorum to teach your kids.
Stand up for what's right. Yes, it is.
This is a neighborhood high school, a local community asset. NTA was built mainly with Near South TIF funds. And if this community deems it appropriate to use a community asset for a community high school, I think that is an appropriate action to take. Excuse me.
Green line like the rest of us.
Next speaker.
Good evening. Now, I'm a parent of a first grader, and I purposely picked NTA for its racial makeup. I was not afraid to walk in the door, and I traveled down Lakeshore Drive to do it every day. And my first grader has never missed a day of school. That's how much he loves NTA. But I digress. Let's talk about Dr. Jackson, CEO. On June 15, 2017, a meeting was held with her. I was the president at that meeting, and so was our LSC president. At that meeting, on the record, I asked Dr. Jackson whether or not she was even aware of the previous boundary change of 2005 that occurred in the area in South Loop. And John Jacoba, who just left here, he should know about that, because he was quoted in an article talking about how South Loop Elementary had improved after so many of the kids had left that was low income. So he should know. But more importantly, Dr. Jackson did not realize at that time that a boundary change kicking so many kids out of South Loop Elementary, black and low income, and pushed to MTA. She was unaware of that. She has made declarations that this new proposal is to right a wrong. But she didn't know about this wrong until this year, or last year, June 2017. Yet she had conversation with the mayor as going back in 2016 after she took over for Barbara Bird Bennett. So this proposal, though she's saying in the media, is to right this wrong that occurred in 2005. She was completely unaware of it. So for the hearing officer, for CPS, and for CHIP, you are clearly willing to move these families back and forth and prejudice the same families that were prejudiced in 2005. No. That is not right.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, my name is Kelly Gordon. I am a 5th grader at National Teachers Academy. I'm here to represent my teachers in my school. My homeroom teacher is Miss Albert, and my second teacher is Miss West. The principal teacher and the assistant principal teacher is doing as much as they can to help our school. And I get what you are saying, Chip, that you want us to be. I get what you are saying, that you want us to stop talking so you can do the presentation. But also, one thing that NTA wants you to know is we want you to hear our voice and what we are doing. We're trying to help our school do what we are doing because my mom lived in the 80s since she was born. After she had to move, we had no place to go until my dad helped us move in Long Grove. I've been living there. I have to walk 4 blocks to get to my house to get to the school. If you move move us to wherever that you want to move us, we are going to have to walk more blocks than we are going to have to walk.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Devonta Middleton. I'm in 5th grade. So I have an old, my grandfather who lives in the apartment building. So the reason why the NTA is getting turned to a high school because we have so many activities and stuff like that, and so what we were doing is we learned about the Decades Project about 1990, like me and my partner was doing that. So this is not right. This is not right because it's dangerous outside and it's cold. And it's like minus 10 degrees. And we had to walk like 4 blocks from our Long Grove to South Blue.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Simon Steele. My name is Simon from LC, a PhD member from Haiti School. Okay, and I know my kids are not going to admission as I go to neighborhood high school, but my neighbor has that white, okay, Spanish, Italian, different country. Okay, but the thing is seems like on a graphic, everybody know how to use Google. If you look at the Google inside, have a whole bunch of elementary school. Doesn't have a high school. Okay, and then we need a high school. NTA is one of the bank they only, but we need 2 high schools, at least 2, in order to serve. According to the information, right now when you build a new high school, there's only 1,200 students. That means divide by 4, only 300 students can able to attend that neighborhood high school. Okay? When I come over here, you were right. I'm taking about 1.5 hours going to school. And then if I can save those 1.5 hours to study, then I don't have to let people lay me off. Okay? And then the other thing is one thing I come over here is as let you know, to say I'm Chinese, but the things I work for a company, I sit in the bus from 109 Street on the Rainbow for 10 years. Okay, so don't tell me I'm a racist. Okay, the other thing is we need the high school. Period. Okay, thank you for those 2 speakers. And then next time we will meeting, that the people try to finish the sentence, and then we can say what's wrong, and then come to speak. Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Mahalafi. I'm from Bridgeport. I'm a labor activist. I write against student debt at the college level. I'm a member of Bridgeport Alliance. And I think it's worth stepping back and thinking about the big picture here with an unelected school board. Public services, like public schools, are our right, and they deserve to be distributed with fairness, not favoritism. When you do not have a check and balance of a vote over a school board, you're going to get outcomes with favoritism. And you're not going to have that buy-in where you're going to get accusations, whether founded or not, of favoritism. And you're left with situations which are profoundly undemocratic, where there's feedback. It's like you're talking at a kid, and you are hoping that you have a good king in office to bless you and pat your head. That's just not how a democracy should work, and we live in a democracy. And I think you get these situations where they just talk at you. And look around here, and there are people who have different perspectives, but who care very, very much about NTA, about the need for a high school that provides uplift, And all of us, as community members, deserve a vote. These school officials can and do wreak havoc in our kids' lives, and we deserve to be able to hold them accountable at the highest level, no matter where we are on this particular issue.
Opposed to the current boundaries because they leave out half of Bridgeport and all of Maryville. It occurred to me last week as I sat through the whole meeting and then didn't realize someone was Facebook living it until I came across it on Facebook. I rewatched the meeting. And now I'm here today again because I thought, well, what can I say that's different? And it occurred to me, the young lady who spoke from Harvard with the bow on her neck. Yes, it occurred to me that you actually kind of started the point that I thought of. We're all sitting in here fighting for our kids. Some of us think we're wrong, some of us think we're right, and whatever it is, but the fact of the matter is nobody is addressing the elephant in the room, which is how many millions of dollars that CPS is taking from CPS budgets and giving to charter schools. And it occurs to me that I'm sitting here fighting for a high school for my kids when there are buildings around, but they're not quality because they're gang infested, because they're low income, because there's no money being invested in them. But yet we can send money to privately run schools that are not even held to the same standards as CPS schools. So I would really like to see CPS to take a hard look at, are you really getting your bang for your buck out of these charter schools as you're taking money away? And now you have a room full of people fighting for this little niblet that we're all desperately in need of. Thank you.
Speakers 33 through 37. Speakers 33 through 37, please line up.
Good evening, everybody. Throughout this process, NTA families have often been described as passionate, and I want to say very clearly that I don't think we see ourselves as passionate, we see ourselves as informed. And what I want to make sure everybody understands are the effects of displacement. I want you to understand that the negative effects of displacement on students and their academic achievement starts 1 year before the move even happens, as soon as the announcement occurs, and continues up to 3 years after the displacement occurs. And I want you to take into consideration that this board has had the most school closures. And when we had the round of school closures in 2013, most of them happened right here in this board. They tried this at Pershing in Brownsville before where they combined schools, and you know what happened? The ratings of the schools dropped. This is not a good option. Also, do you know that NTA families, many of them have been displaced 2 to 3 times already because of previous closures? And do you know that many of the NTA families have also been kicked out of Southland Elementary before? So I ask you again to go back to those statistics where it starts 1 year before, lasts up to 3 years after, and tell me who has the right to continue to destabilize the education of these children who are perhaps of the most vulnerable of us. Do you think that that is your right? If you do, let me state clearly that it is not your right. And if you want to teach your children about diversity, what I want to say is start with telling them how to treat your neighbors with dignity. Start with teaching your children that you don't take something just because you want or need it. And start with showing your children what it means to work to build a diverse and high-performing high school instead of just stating it because you think it belongs to you. And to Mr. Jacoby, what I want to say is I don't know what you will say to your daughter and how you will explain this process, but you are on record yourself in the Southside Weekly, June 21st, 2017, admitting that there are 1,500 available high school seats in the area, but you said that's a valid argument in terms of the fact that these schools are underutilized. Why don't we use it? The answer to it is none of our people will send our kids there. Face it, it's your fault.
These two ladies right here, they're young women, are former classmates of mine, and they are parents in NTA, and I stand with them in NTA today as a Haiti parent. I want to close your eyes and opposed to the current proposal as it stands, because there are no winners. There are
care of the young and the defenseless. The implication being that all of the children are our responsibility. Yours, mine, everybody in this room, and everybody around. So what are we going to do together to make sure that we have opportunities for our children and every child? Because our kids are your kids are mine.
CPS board meetings. I'm a working parent. I don't have time for all of this. I'm tired. But I keep coming because this is really important. We've heard through this process opposition for the plan from the NTA community. We've told you what will be lost at NTA, our culture that prizes integrity and awareness, our restorative justice program, and our fabulous team of teachers and staff who have created a learning environment that challenges and engages all our children. You've heard about how students and teachers working together have helped NTA with strong gains in reading and math driven by the successes of our neighborhood students. You've also heard from residents of the South Loop, Chinatown, and Bridgeport communities who all spoke about the need for quality neighborhood high school option. This proposed plan does none of it. It ignores the concerns of the NTA community. It tears our community apart, splitting our student body across 4 different buildings. It disadvantages those who stay at NTA. As its elementary age population shrinks, how will NTA be able to continue to offer the rich programming that has made it such a successful school? How will it retain and attract good teachers? Most importantly, NTA will eventually go away. Future generations will lose access to this gem, which has so ably served low-income African-American majority population. As my friend here points out, this proposal doesn't meet the needs of the near South community. Even when it opens, it won't be able to serve the whole community. It's built as an elementary school. It doesn't fit the bill. There is another way. Last week, I participated in the Q racial equity analysis. This tool used across the country begins with a commitment to racial equity. We had representatives from many different viewpoints, and the discussion was respectful and collaborative. Unlike my experience with CPS, I felt heard, and the outcome was not predetermined. This is the way policy should be made in Chicago, not driven by closed-door meetings where few voices of privilege dominate. Thank you.
Our education and the students there to gain a high school. What I want you to realize and what I want to make sure is on record today is that the politicians continue to pit us against each other and to give us false choices. So, Pat Dowell, let me see, on Friday, June 2nd, 2017, Dr. Jackson had an email exchange with Alderman Dowell in which Dowell states, I see that the NTA parents groups are trying to make a segregation argument. I think you should have an answer for that should it reel its ugly head at the meeting. From my perspective, the boundary change increases diversity at the Southwood Elementary School. If you have time before the meeting, let's discuss. So what's interesting is that Dow and Alderman, and that half Southwood is part of her community, and as a stakeholder, believes that closing NTA will increase diversity at the Southwood Elementary School, and there's no discussion of this by the Alderman of how this proposal will negatively impact NTA. There's no data presented that says that any of these outcomes will be positive for any of the children or communities involved. And I remember a time when Alderman Dow was quoted in the media saying that segregation was not her job and that she was not going to take it on. So it's very interesting that this is now an argument. Again, I would like for us, okay, NTA parents have reached out on several occasions. This is a false choice. NTA does not have to be compromised for us to have a high school that serves each community that is deserving of a high school, and we do not have to accept that. So continue to fight against it, and for those of you that would like to join us, again, we still welcome you, and you're welcome to come to NTA as well for elementary school. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eli, and I believe I don't have very much to add to the discussion. Everybody is pretty clear on what is taking place. The CPS officials do not reflect the society's will, do not reflect the constituents. They reflect what downtown wants. And I can truly understand that they have to do what's needed to provide sustenance to their family and their well-being. So I ask myself, what, if they're actually listening, what alternatives have they come up with? Have you made any alternatives for NTA being a high school, or is it the one and only plan that you guys have? And rather than listen to any genuine alternatives, it's just basically, again, meeting the state mandate that is required of you before you move on to the next option, which is basically close it down. Is there, I ask you, not rhetorically, I ask you, is there another plan that was neck and neck with closing down NTA? It was optioned out, or was there anything else?
Not remotely.
So, he's just a hatchet man.
The facilitator. Thank you. Continue your comments.
Thank you very much. And really, I would say, vote what's good for the society here. Everybody here has a genuine need, but we don't need to be divided and conquered for somebody else's will and desire. We need something that is genuine. And I know your hands are tied. You like your salaries, and you don't want to be calmly debating it, especially if you don't have the goodwill downtown. So.
Good evening. My name is Kofi Adamola. I'm a member of Black Lives Matter Chicago. I just did a speech yesterday at the Southern Museum connecting the civil rights movement to the movement for Black Lives. And one thing that I pointed out was that Dr. King first came to Chicago to fight against the Willis wagons. For those of you who don't know, at the time, Daley and Superintendent Willis were forcing segregation, and even though in predominantly white schools they had seats available, they wouldn't allow black students to attend there. So what they did is they built these bogus wagons to pile our children into, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because that harkens to today, where this isn't just about racial inequality, but this is about profit over people. I've heard time and again that CPS has money to build a high school for you all. Right now, we're fighting to divest from policing and mass incarceration. The city has a $1.4 billion budget for policing. That is ridiculous. That money should be divested and reinvested into the community. We should be opening the high school, and we should be keeping the district open, right? So we can't allow them to be divisive and putting two communities together against each other, right? Diversity is not the truth when we're fighting for each other. This is more gentrification and this is more colonization. They push black people out. We have seen this in Inglewood with the school closings. We've seen it with the 50 school closings back in 2013. Please, let's let these two communities come together and fight for what's right. Keep NTA open.
Speakers 38 through 42, please line up. Speakers 38 through 42.
Hi, good evening. My name is Erica Clark. I'm with Parents for Teachers. I was at the last hearing. I was at all the hearings over the summer. I've been to the hearings in Inglewood. And when I left last week's hearing, whenever I leave hearings or meetings with NTA, I always feel so, I get in the car and I'm so hopeful and I'm so energized because of the passion and the dedication that you all have to fighting for your school and your families and your children. And then a few seconds later, reality sinks in. That we're standing here with people from CPS telling us that we should be respectful. Well, how is attacking black families in the city what we're seeing over and over and over again? Like the last speaker just said, here at NTA, down in Inglewood in 2013 with all the school closings, how are those attacks respectful? You don't deserve respect, I'm sorry. You know, I know you're just doing your job, but CPS does not deserve respect. They are not treating the communities, the black community, with respect, so what goes around comes around. And someone asked their page, you know, they made some mistakes. You're darn right you made some mistakes. This is a big mistake. And she needs to fix it. So she's talking about wanting to rebuild trust and regain, you know, public credibility. Well, if she really wants to do that, she needs to stop this. She needs to drop this plan right now and put an end to these school closings and these attacks on black people.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rotary McGee. I'm from the Gap Community Organization, which is just south of here. If there is a chance that the school is closed and turned into a high school, you need to go back to 1998. In 1998, the TIF was created under Madam Haycock. All of you all who are arguing about a school didn't pay a nickel for it. It's in the Brownsville TIF. The Brownsville TIF goes from 22nd Street to 39th Street. Predominantly a black neighborhood who paid for the school who couldn't go to the school. So if there is going to be a high school, all of you are welcome to come to our school because we paid for it. And if you want to know, there's a Freedom of Information Act that was done that showed that all of the money to build that school came from black people. Most of you don't even know that because you're going by Alderman Dow, who's lovely. You're going by Alderman Tillman, who's lovely. You're going by Bob Fioretti, who's lovely. But it was all in the Second Ward. And it was the Bronzeville TIF that is paid for this school. And all we're asking is, whatever you do with it, we want you to move the boundaries inside the TIF so the people who pay for it, who are African American, can have access to what we pay for. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is I'm a grandparent at NTA. And my thing is, my grandkids survived that first procedure that y'all kicked us out of South Florida. And what I want to address is, they took the bus service first. That's how we stopped. We took the bus service. And I just heard you say something about y'all $3 million plan that included the bus service. Let me say something. That means no harm. Don't pat us on the head. That's a pat on the head. The children from us in the beginning, they want to give back to us. The pat us on the head. Stop it, please. Come on. That's what I want to say about that. Because we've been through this before, and it's not fair to the children that you keep running us around like this. You building this new South Florida school building is not for us. It's for the politics. I don't even say race and flag. I don't even think it's about color. It's about politics. Y'all politicking on our children's lives. And then when they turn out all bad, you want to politic some more and say they all bad. What you want us to do? All we want the Chinese, we want everybody to keep, we want the high school, but not at the benefit of other children. These kids, the foundation begins when they look. As they grow, the teenagers, they can disperse, because I can guarantee they ain't all going to want to go to NTA for high school. And in a few more years, it's going to become like a selective enrollment school. You all going to still be having other kids for lotteries, all that. Come on now, for how many years is this going to last? It's going to allow the kids from every neighborhood to come here. That's not going to last long, because y'all going to have to make the money. And the money is coming in here in South Florida. It ain't about the skin color, it's about this money y'all trying to get. And I get everybody to feed the kids, feed their family, everybody got a family. But don't pat us on the head with this $3 million plan you just put in place. Find that $3 million, put it somewhere else, and make them better. Make them out better. But don't pat us on the head with this $3 million I just heard you say. And so far, Barbara Bird, where is she at? She's right now, ain't she?
Speakers 43 through 47. Any speakers with numbers 43 through 47, you may line up now.
Good evening. My name is Speaker Brooks, and I am the assistant principal at NTA. And I've been silent, and I chose not to say anything every single meeting, but I could not sit still and not community members. I won't yell, I won't scream. What I will say to you is, I challenge our Bridgeport families, our Chinatown families, our elected officials that are sitting here, our CPS officials that are sitting here, to come to NTA. Since March, we've all sat in meetings, we've talked about this closure. I have not seen anyone come and walk through our doors. On any given day, if you walk into our building, and I know I'm going to go past my time, on any given day, if you walk into our building, it may not be peaches and cream. You might walk through the hallway and you may see a student that is upset, irate, irritated, but what you will see along with that one student is at least 4 other individuals, and those individuals can range from a security guard, a teacher, a fellow classmate that is trying to calm that child down. In the same process, what you'll see is that child possibly go into the classroom and talk about what is bothering him. Talk through how he could have made a different choice. On any given day, you may walk in and see a group of first graders leading a Socratic seminar comparing several different informational texts in a first grade classroom. You may walk into our building and you may see our middle school students working with our primary students who are significantly below. You may walk into our building on any given day. You may see myself, our principal, pulling small groups of students that we know is going to make a difference in our achievement growth. You may also see, I only have one other speaker. I'm going to ask you to please let me finish.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
On any given day, what you will see is a community in our building. No one has taken the time to walk in and see the amazing work that we have done in our building. And that bothers me. Please take the time to come in and see.
Elected officials that have been here from the beginning. Alderman Thompson is here in the audience, and also Alderman Dow from the 3rd Ward, 11th Ward and the 3rd Ward are representing here tonight. Thank you. We'll proceed, Speaker.
Good evening, my name is Joan Colasso. I'm a resident of Bronzeville / The Gap, and I just simply came here to echo my neighbor that whatever good thing that you have certainly should be shared with the young people who live in the Gap area. We have high schools there, public high schools, but we certainly need a better one. The military academy is good. We have Phillips, we have Dunbar. We need a high school that is diverse, that will include our children in that area. We need a grammar school that is diverse, that would include our children. Our children can thrive. Our children will thrive. All they need is to be included. That's all I want to say.
Speakers 48 through 56. Any speakers with the numbers 48 through 56 will be our final speakers. You may line up.
Hi, my name is, I'm too short for that, sorry. My name is Raquel Dunn, and I am a woman of faith, and I don't like any negativity, and I don't like all the racial tension that's been going on with this conversion talk. I have been advocating for a new school. We all of our children deserve quality education beyond 8th grade. And I am an involved parent at my school, which is James Ward. It's a diverse school. It is primarily made up of Asians that are learning English. And being involved there, I know 2 things. I know what it takes to make a 1+ school, and I know the needs of the Asian community. I know that a 1+ school is not just a bunch of kids getting good test scores. It means that you have children that are willing to learn. They are learning. Teachers that love their job. A whole team comprised of teachers, support staff, and parents together. It is a community, a thriving community. And also at my school, we have a large Asian community, and we lack services to teach our children. We constantly have teachers flying to China to get materials they need. We never receive information from CPS in Chinese. So our teachers, our parents have to stay late to communicate with our parents in their native language. So I am here to say that all of our children deserve quality education, and the Asian community deserves the resources it needs so that their children too have a fair chance of quality education. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm the parent of Jory Willis, a second grader who's attended the RGC program since kindergarten. Everybody knows Jory. During her educational journey, Jory has built solid, profound relationships with classmates, educators, ancillary staff, as well as with other parents. Not only do her classmates attend school together, some of them also take classes together at kids' science labs, attend birthday parties together, and they also plan birthday parties together. And even this past holiday, some of the students attended a Martin Luther King swing workshop together. Well, let's think about how these bonds were solidified in the first place. They were solidified through countless encounters that the parents had on the playground, in their Facebook groups, in text streams, during assemblies, field trips, and even during fundraisers. This is how the parents have built trustworthy bonds. And this process has modeled for their children the importance of building trustworthy bonds too. Not your average Joe Schmo bonds, but empowering bonds, resourceful bonds, social bonds, which collectively have strengthened our school community. Okay, how many of you can call at least 5 parents in your child's classroom and ask them to pick up your child from school because you were stalled in traffic? How many of you can ask fellow parents to post a copy of the homework because your child actually left her folder at school? How many of you receive weekly videos and audio recordings posted by students and teachers that display academic rigor? As a CPS educator and alum, I have seen firsthand what works. I'm in the trenches. You can't pull wool over my eyes when it comes to the educational process. And what I know for sure is that stability is key to the academic and social emotional development of children. Stability. This proposal, please, just a little bit. This proposal is not in the best interest of the children. It's in the best interest of greedy real estate developers, politicians, and misguided urban planners who don't care about our children. I have more to say, but I'll close. Please just try to work with us. Please just try. I'm an educator of over 20 years. I've seen what works, and this school works.
Before the next speaker comes, we still have about 14 minutes before we conclude this meeting. If you want to speak again, you may register outside and then come back up. We only have room for about maybe 3 to 4 speakers though, okay? We will end promptly at 8 o'clock. Thank you, speaker.
Hi, my name is Pearl Miller and I'm from NTA. But soon I won't say that, because if you close my school, I have to say that I am from South Loop. Also, I can go to the high school, but my friends in lower grades won't. Also, you take away part of my life if you take away my school. Just because you think it is right doesn't mean it is right. People who make friends want to be able to keep them and see them through.
Our next speaker. Those who have signed up can line up this way, please.
Hi, my name is Olivia Shelton. I live in Monroe. I'm a grandma. I'm an old school grandma. Anything that goes on with my grandson, It doesn't matter, it could have happened in science, the math, everybody is involved. And that's what I like about NTA, the whys. Why does my grandson want to be on time? Every single day. Why does my grandson want to have perfect attendance? He never wants to miss. I'm older. I'm retired. I get my grandson up every morning at 6:30 because he moves a little slow. He has to take a shower, he has to be ready. He has to get to school on time. There's no exceptions because they want him to be at a high standard. He has to be accountable. We have to be accountable. We work hand in hand. If the teacher said it, like back in the day, it's true. You don't get to say, oh no, that's not right, We work together. If Ms. Brown said you did it, you did it. And that's why I say you have to tell that child right there. You have to respect authority. You have to hold yourself up at a high standard. If you can get a C, you can get a B. If you can get a B, you can get an A. Do your best. But I'm a grandmother. It's rough. I get up and walk him every single day because this child loves NTA. I watch everybody. I watch the principal. I watch the teachers. I'm a looker. JP, he's awesome with the kids. And I appreciate all of them. This is our family right here. So, Tim, come on now, work with us. And let's pray. Whatever you do, pray. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ted Turner. I live in the University Village neighborhood. I drove from my job in Oklahoma and returned there after this meeting because I think it's important for me to say something. I attended the meeting last week hoping to run into my alderman to lobby for my neighborhood's inclusion into the new high school's catchment area. What I heard within the rhetoric at the meeting were two important things. First, the NTA clearly serves its population exceedingly well. Its leaders and teachers have created an environment and programming that serves and supports its students wonderfully. The school is successful by every metric. Its students are inspired and thriving there. Not one person involved with the school once it merged into the South Loop. Too many of the NTA students will get lost in the South Loop environment, which is not being designed for their specific needs. Merging the Ogden and Jenner schools is good. Displacing the NTA students into the South Loop school is wrong. Second, the plan to convert the NTA building into a high school is terribly flawed. The facility was built as an elementary school and will function horribly as a school for older students. Additionally, the numbers presented by CPS don't add up. They're based on inaccurate models. This high school will be overcrowded within years and we'll be right back here again fighting with CPS too soon. There are obviously better alternatives to this plan. For example, the Central City High School proposal in the empty Little Italy, Adams, Medhill area adjacent to the massive athletic complex announced to be built there. No one who looks objectively at the NTA proposal agrees with it. Unfortunately, it seems to be a fait accompli. If this plan moves forward, it will be a shame on Chicago. Thanks for your attention.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Chantel Boston, and I'm a parent of 3 students of NTA. And I'm just coming speaking on behalf of my children who couldn't be here today. One of my children, he had suggested to me, he said, why is it that CPS doesn't try to build another school? His name is Javion. And he said, why is it they don't take the time to try and build another school? Why take our school? He said, if they need help building another school, I'll help. And it's sad that our children have to constantly fight to keep something that, like I said, I feel is a great place. Because I grew up in the suburbs, and I tell my kids all the time that schools that I went to, if you had any issues, they were quick to send you to an alternative school. They won't give you as many chances as I have seen the staff at
that NTA give my child. And yes, I do have a problem child. But I pray for him daily. And he's going to be great one day. Hopefully soon. But I work for the city, and I'm in a constant fight for just treatment on my job. And to hear the proposal that is here now, it's just like, it just never ends. And I always viewed Chicago as a great city from growing up in the suburbs. And we used to make a summer trip every summer just to come out here and to view the sights and, you know, ride the train. And it's like just living here, it's not what I thought it to be. And I just, like the last lady said, all we can do is just continue to pray and just have faith and just keep fighting. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is John McDermott, and one of the key injustices that we as a city have to come to terms with is that the plan for transformation of public housing in Chicago, which started in '99, so we're now 18 years into a 10-year plan. That plan has only resulted in less than half of the replacement public housing units that were promised actually being built 18 years later. And I know this from deep personal experience. I had the chance to work closely with the residents and former residents and neighbors of the Lathrop homes on the north side. And in that case, the CHA initially promised that rehab would begin in 2001. And it just is beginning this summer, this past fall. So there was this immense period of limbo, practically a generation long, 17, 18 years. That same thing has happened at the Ickes homes. And I know from the experience at Lathrop homes that as the population went down and the local school was closed, it became very difficult for families to imagine coming back to Lathrop, or new families with kids coming to Lathrop, because the local school was gone. You have the opportunity to avoid that. You have a wonderful local elementary school that is directly adjacent to the Ickes site. The CHA has announced that redevelopment is going to begin. Don't miss this opportunity to make that redevelopment include a great elementary school on site. And don't let outside forces, these communities that are represented here tonight, you deserve both a new high school and to keep NTA and make it stronger. Don't let anybody from the outside divide you from each other.
Hi everyone, my name is Angela. I work for the Coalition for a Better Chinese American Community, and I just wanted to address something that I heard, which is the lack of presence of the Chinese community. And I just want people to know that a lot of the community members have different opinions, and a lot of people are sympathetic, a lot of people they just don't know about it. But we do try to, at least organizations, try to go to we've been to all the racial equity assessments, and we do try to get the community members out. But a lot of the problem I really think is the language access issue, and I just want people to, some NTA parents to realize that, for example, no one's going to go volunteer at Phillips because, first of all, it's sort of immigrant parents are really just going to stay within whatever geographical boundaries, they might feel comfortable with language-wise, and also that's just not something that people are going to consider in their list of priorities and things, because they're just really working. And that's not to say that that shouldn't be happening, that should be happening, but political advocacy is just so limited, and even just getting people to register to vote and things like that is just so hard because of the language barrier. So I think that some groups are trying, some groups aren't, but I think that, like ultimately we all like want to not be fighting for scraps and to, really work together and have like greater civic engagement and advocacy and be able to speak for ourselves.
Before I go to my final acknowledgements, I would like to point out that if you have additional questions or comments, you may send them to transitions@cps.edu, and you can also find the presentations at the website www.cps.edu/transitions. Let me make these final announcements. On Monday, January 29th, we will have the public hearing from 6 to 8:30 at 42 West Madison in front of the judge. Okay, so that's a public hearing, January 29th from 6 to 8:30. And again, I'd like to acknowledge those who were present here from the beginning. Alderman Thompson from the 11th Ward was here. Alderman Pat Dowell from the 3rd Ward. Also, Principal Castellans from NTA and Principal Tara Shelton from South View. Thank you all. Be careful going forward.